Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act 2011. According to the Act, a Police and Crime Commissioner must issue a police and crime plan within the financial year in which they were elected. They could issue further plans at any time and could vary their plans. The first numbers in this plan reflect a different approach. 2017/21 involves no sense of adapting over time to changing circumstances. In weak shades of blue, 01 is a foreword, 02 deals with roles and responsibilities, 03 is about Sussex, 04 is about relationship of the police and crime plan to partner community safety plans, and so on, leading to some unfortunate consequences, of which I'll give a couple of examples. One reads on page 9, "The Independent Police Complaints Commission oversees the complaints process nationally." No, it does not and did not. The IPCC only oversaw the work of the police forces of England and Wales, and it ceased to exist in January 2018, having been replaced by the Independent Office for Police Conduct. My second example is more important. On page 5 one reads, "I have identified the following 4 policing and crime objectives. First, strengthen local policing." Did you really identify the need to do that for yourself, or was it forced on you by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, who pointed out weakness that you had allowed to develop over the preceding years? Bourne became Commissioner in 2012. 5 years later, Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services published a report on Sussex Police with the title Peel, Police Effectiveness 2017. Page 8 is about local policing and starts, "Preventing crime and tackling antisocial behaviour requires improvement. For the last 2 years, HMIC-FRS has expressed concern that decisions by Sussex Police to reduce staffing in local policing have limited the force's ability to prevent crime and antisocial behaviour. The force is now implementing plans to improve the way it provides local policing, which it expects to give a clearer focus on the importance of prevention for local policing." If you, the viewer, were required to produce plans for 4 years of a police force's work, at a cost of £1,000 million, how many pages would you need to write? Sussex Police and Crime Plan 2017-21 takes up 28 pages. Have the dartboard, which initially was supposed to depict the police and crime plan, and the £250 a year white ribbon campaign, which was supposed to be leading the country in combating men's violence against women, been replaced with something more substantial? Page 1 has the title of the booklet and a photograph of the Commissioner. Page 2 has another photograph of the Commissioner and one of 3 copies of her signature. Page 4, which is numbered 5, with a foreword from the Commissioner, has another photograph of her, and page 5 itself found room for a small photograph of her, as well as another signature. Page 7 includes the backs of 2 police officers and the front of the Commissioner. Pages 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 21 all feature police photographs, which seem little more than space fillers, and page 23 as part of the back of a large handcuffed person and a small photograph of a policeman. Pages 26 and 27 are dominated by photographs of the Commissioner, and the last page is about the Commissioner's office and emails. Photographs depict the past. Plans are for the future. So let's look at the text. Section 07, page 14, deals with policing and crime objectives. I'll briefly examine the first underpinning aim for each of the objectives. 1. Ensure local policing services are accessible. A large proportion of policing already takes place in localities, and many people have phones, so what precisely is the Commissioner planning to supervise? 2. Encourage and support local communities to prevent crime and disorder. This is subliterate. Who is to do what exactly? Does it imply that local communities are expected to put a stop to criminal behaviour in their area? Will they be armed like the police, or at least have tasers? 3. Commission high-quality services which support victims. Does the Commissioner plan to do this herself, or are the police to commission something or other? We already have the NHS and insurance companies. What does this mean? 4. Ensure victims and witnesses have the most positive experience of the criminal justice system. Is it the Commissioner or the police who are going to manage how the courts and judges work? As to a coherent plan about what the police should be doing, if I think of online panel meetings, I remember that the use of PCSOs and the shortcomings of the 101 telephone service produced memorable discussions. So I searched the plan for occurrences of the words phone, apostrophe phone and telephone, and the acronyms PCSO and PCSOs. The result in every case was 0. Much of the booklet seems to be about the Commissioner rather than the police, so I checked for occurrences of the first-person pronoun I. That appears 78 times. The silliest sentence in the plan reveals a poor grasp of written English. The Commissioner gives an oversimplified explanation of the Sussex Police and Crime Panel, with no mention of substitutes, and says, membership consists of a maximum of 18 councillors from each of the 15 local authorities within Sussex, plus 2 independent members. That gives us a maximum of 272 members. My particular concern for nearly 20 years has been about how complaints from the public about Sussex Police are treated. When I complain to Sussex Police about malpractice, dishonesty and corruption by their officers, the Independent Police Complaints Commission said that they could give Sussex Police a dispensation not to investigate my complaints, provided that Sussex Police recorded my complaints. I told the IPCC that Sussex Police had only recorded corrupt practice twice. Sussex Police were given the dispensation nevertheless, though the IPCC seemed ignorant about my wrongful arrest and detention in a cell, an unlawful attempt to give me a caution, the breaking of one of my cameras, the deliberate destruction of a computer hard disk, the closing down of my website, the editing out of material from interview tapes in the transcription, the refusal to let me have the interview tapes to which I had a right as soon as was practicable. After a letter to the Chief Constable had failed, I complained to Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and forced the police to send me copies of the tapes, the withholding from me of the statement by ex-policeman Maybury which had led to my arrest by dishonest police officers, and much else. In one of my YouTube videos, the Chief Inspector responsible for dealing with complaints from the public in the Lewes area told a meeting of Sussex Police Authority how many complaints against her officers had been upheld in the past year.
None of the complaints against any of my officers over the last year have been substantiated.
Sussex Police Authority had an ineffectual complaints committee until its chief executive arranged for it to be renamed the Professional Standards Committee. Now the authority has been superseded by the Commissioner and a panel controlled by West Sussex County Council. The Commissioner extended Richard's appointment as Chief Constable. Richards, in a police authority meeting, had referred to complaints from the public about the police as little irritants. After Richards, Bourne appointed as Chief Constable a man who was Deputy Chief Constable of Sussex, in 2 police authority meetings which I recorded, advised senior officers that the attitude of the police force to complaints has changed significantly. York said that a report had moved us away from a kind of pernicious investigative approach to officers' actions and opened up the opportunity much more towards management and performance improvement, as opposed to a quasi-legal process happening whenever anything went wrong. Can you complain to the Independent Office for Police Conduct? The IOPC say, if you complain via the IOPC, your complaint will be sent direct to the organisation involved. They will assess your complaint and contact you about how it will be handled. Can you complain to the Commissioner? In the plan on page 7, complaints are allowed about half the area given to a photograph of the Commissioner. The Commissioner will only investigate complaints about the Chief Constable's own conduct. She will consider and investigate any complaints or conduct matters against the Chief Constable of Sussex Police where he has been personally and directly involved. When in the past I wrote to the Chief Constable about illegal police actions, other officers provided the evasive replies. According to the Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act of 2011, a police force and the civilian staff of a police force are under the direction and control of the Chief Constable of the force. Surely that implies that the Chief Constable bears some responsibility if other Sussex police officers are dishonest or act illegally. While Bourne is in post and West Sussex runs the show, any improvement in this aspect of policing is very unlikely to owe anything whatever to her. I emailed the Police and Crime Panel on the 10th of August 2016. Primary complaint? At the July 2016 meeting of the panel, in answer to the only question from a member of the public, the Commissioner seemed to be lying on more than one occasion, and the members of the panel were too diffident or too ignorant to raise objections to what the Commissioner said. The apparently dishonest statements are included in a YouTube video entitled Katie Bourne, 2 Statements and 2 Answers. Secondary complaint. Your Sussex Police and Crime Panel Ash Complaints webpage has no mention of complaints from the public about the Sussex Police and Crime Panel and the council officers who manage it. The panel did not reply to my email. Instead, the senior advisor of West Sussex County Council replied saying, "The issues you raise seem to be a matter of interpretation. The statutory complaints process is not really set up to handle such issues, and I'm not sure any outcome will be satisfactory to you." Yet on the Sussex Police and Crime Panel's website, you can read that the panel's role includes powers to deal with complaints about the Commissioner. The West Sussex Senior Advisor wrote, "There is currently no mechanism for submitting complaints about the PCP itself. He should have explained the mechanism which allowed him to stop my email reaching those to whom it was addressed. I had submitted a complaint via email, and it was primarily about the Commissioner that I was complaining.